Why are there dark spots on my pizza box? Oh, wait, I know the answer. Let's watch this video. This is Norris Teaches Science with Mr. Norris, and today I will present lipids, nucleic acids, and proteins. So in this video, your goal is to say that I can describe each organic molecule, their monomers, and their functions. That goes along with the other video I made on carbohydrates because all four are considered the organic molecules needed for life. So let's first talk about lipids. Lipids are your fats, your oils, your waxes, your steroids. They're all lipids. One interesting thing about lipids is that it does not dissolve in water. They don't dissolve in water. If you've ever combined oil and water, you notice that oil sits on the top of the water. They don't, it doesn't dissolve in water, none of that. They don't like each other. The function of lipids are energy storage. They store energy. Um, Insulation and protective covering. Insulation, think of it like the blubber on a whale. It keeps it warm in the cold waters. Um, Protective covering is there to help make sure that the organs inside something is protected. Inside of a cell, it's in the what we call the cell membrane and is there so that the cell is protected from the outside environment. Its monomer is one glycerol and three fatty acids. So that's one, that's the monomer. You link them together, you get your lipids. The elements in here are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are the same elements that are in carbohydrates, but they're just arranged differently. And the arrangement of elements actually determines what stuff is. If you want to know more, chemistry and physical science can teach you more about these arrangements and how they determine what substances are what. Now, there's a test to see if something has lipids. Kind of related back to how I started the video. Um, when you place something on paper or cardboard, the fat is absorbed into the paper. It leaves an oil spot on the paper. We call it the brown paper bag test. Basically, so say you get a pizza delivered and everyone eats the pizza, but you notice that there's some brown, oily spots on the cardboard underneath the pizza. That was basically the lipid test. Your pizza has lipids or fats in it. So just a hint, next time you're, with your family and this happens, you can explain that to them. Proteins function is structure of tissues and organs and metabolism. When you think of proteins, you're probably thinking of fish or chicken or meat, maybe peanut butter, maybe eggs, stuff like that. You're thinking of that for proteins, and you're all correct. But there's other proteins out there too that we're going to focus more on. The elements in proteins are hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon, just like the other two macromolecules. But this time, proteins get an extra one called nitrogen. And the monomer for a protein is called amino acids. And there's actually 20 different amino acids out there. And that makes proteins a very diverse macromolecule because those 20 different amino acids can arrange in multiple combinations to create multiple different proteins that your body uses. So there are a lot of proteins out there that your body uses and your body makes. And we're actually going to talk in a future video about how the body makes proteins. Now, examples of some proteins are insulin. We talked about that before in another video, but insulin is created in the pancreas so that you can monitor your blood sugar. Diabetic people have an issue with that. Some diabetic people. You got hemoglobin. Hemoglobin's in your blood and it prevents you from bleeding out with the paper cut. Is there to what we call clot the blood. People who do not have hemoglobin or do not produce it well are called hemophilic, and so they actually have to watch what happens when they get a cut, because if they don't, they can actually bleed out and die. And another one's enzymes, and we're actually going to have another video about enzymes because it's a whole new topic, whole other topic of information, but enzymes are proteins as well. The last macromolecule is called nucleic acid. Nucleic acids store cellular information in the form of a code. a genetic code. Do you know what that code is? Well, if you don't, it's called DNA. Elements in nucleic acids are the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Like all of them have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Then nucleic acids have nitrogen, and nucleic acids also have something called phosphorus. So it has 5 elements combined together in some way to form the nucleic acid. One way I can remember the elements is if you remember how I have done them: carbohydrate, lipid, proteins, nucleic acids. I learned this from another video on YouTube from another group, and I'll link it in the description below. But it's cho, chan, chomp. So that's how you can remember the elements. The monomer for nucleic acid is nucleotide. We have to do a whole nother slide on nucleotides because they're just fascinating, and we're going to do it right after this. And all cells contain nucleic acids, and they contain it in the form of DNA and RNA. And again, we're going to have another video series about DNA and RNA and how they work in the body, how they make proteins, and how you can affect them and change how things happen. And like I said, nucleotides, the monomer of nucleic acids, are really important. So this picture right here represents a nucleotide of DNA. Nucleotides have 3 components, or 3 parts. You got your base, you have your simple sugar, and in DNA it's called deoxyribose sugar, and then you have a phosphate. This is one nucleotide. You link the nucleotides together and you get a nucleic acid. So let's do a quick summary here of the macromolecule, biological molecule, whatever you want to call it, its monomer, and its function. I would pause this video right here and I would write this down. This is great study chart here, especially when you're trying to do a test or a quiz or you're just trying to refer to it. Great chart. So pause real quick and copy this down. Macromolecule, carbohydrate. The monomer is monosaccharide, 1 sugar, and its function is energy, short-term energy. Lipids. Its monomer is 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids, is there for energy storage or long-term energy, insulation, and protection. Protein. Protein's monomer is amino acid and is there for structure and metabolism. Nucleic acids, its monomer is nucleotides and is there for your genetic information, your DNA, your RNA. And this is all the macromolecules. If you watch the carbohydrate one, in this one, you have covered all 4 macromolecules and their basic information. I really hope you learned something. There's a lot more about these macromolecules, and we're going to actually refer back to them in other videos in the series. But if you need more information, there's always your teacher. If I'm the teacher, of course, you can always just come back to me. You can always look on the internet or, watch the video again. I really hope you learned something, and this is Mr. Norris, and I am signing out.